Hello everyone, my name is Professor Kaur, or you can call me Dr. Kaur, Dr. K, Professor K, whatever you prefer. Here's my information, that's my email. I'll be on campus a little bit early, and most likely in the classroom. If not in the classroom, then in this room. So if you need to see me, you can come a little bit early to class, and come talk to me. So I'm going to basically go over the syllabus for this course. You've signed up for a hybrid class, hybrid anatomy summer course. So that means that part of this course is taught online, and then part of it is taught in person. The part that taught online is going to be lectures. Lectures are going to be posted online on Canvas, and that's going to be asynchronous, which means you don't have to meet at a particular time. The lectures are pre-recorded with some lecture participation questions, and then you're responsible for doing the assignment before you come to class. So we're going to be in person, in lab, and then summer is going to go really fast because it's only 8-week course. So we're going to be meeting Monday and Wednesday, um, from 5 p.m. to 9:20 p.m. in MH304. So when I teach a hybrid class, things get kind of cramped on the first day, or in the labs usually because the discussion that's supposed to happen in the lecture sometimes happens in the lab. So that kind of takes away a little bit of time. So we're doing dissections, we're going over models. So make sure you show up on time. We will get started with the lab right away every time we meet, and then that you do the lecture before you come to class. Lecture participation for the lecture will be due before you come to class. So because the topic that we're going to be covering in the lab needs to be already covered in the lecture, so that they are, they go hand in hand. So lectures, I make them available about a week or 2 weeks in advance. So you basically have 7 full days or more to do that assignment before you come to class. And those are generally pretty easy. I would say most of my lectures are, bit short. If it's, 45 lecture, you're probably gonna have three short videos of 15 minutes each, 15 to 20 minutes each. If it's a long one, it can go up to an hour or hour 20 minutes, but I try breaking them down into parts as well. So, when you listen to one, you can take a break and then you can go on the next one. So they're going to vary depending on the topic and the chapter length. And this is an introductory video for the syllabus. So I'm just going to go through the syllabus right now, really quickly. You can read this document on your own, um, in detail. So this is the course description. This is a anatomy bio 31 course. It's a 4 unit course. It's a requirement for getting into a nursing program. So what you do is you take this class, then you take micro, you take human physiology, and then you have most of your prereqs to apply for the nursing program. But I know that not all of my students are going for nursing, so this class is useful for all the other things like anesthesiology, chiropractor services, dental, radiology. So anything in the health field would be really fantastic for learning these student learning outcomes. So by end of this course, you would have all these completed, the student learning outcomes. Let's see, so here, and you know, there are a lot of study resources that we have, and I'll show you those on Canvas website where you can get more details about it. So I'm going to go through the syllabus first, and then I'll go over to Canvas to show you a couple of things. So you obviously need to have some equipment to take the course. So for example, you need to have a computer, stable internet connection, and then access to Canvas. I have all that listed here. So you need to have Canvas access. To access Canvas, um, you need to have the internet and the computer. So um, I have put the Canvas link here in the syllabus, but I have some other links in Canvas that I'll show you about mastering ANP. It's linked in Canvas. And then the mastering subscription does come with e-textbook, which I'll show you in a little bit. So what we do not have a regular textbook per se. What we are going to do is we're going to use this thing called Mastering A&P, Access Pearson. And we are going to use a Martini et al. Textbook that comes with the Mastering A&P, and it's published by the publisher and the electronic version of your textbook. Most students go for that. When they subscribe to Mastering A&P, they have the option to choose electronic textbook or buy a physical copy of the textbook. I'll show you, I sent you the welcome letter that included the cover of the textbook. That's what it looks like. I'll show you in the lab as well. So we are using Human Anatomy by Martini et al. So you can use any edition just to make sure that whatever textbook you get, if you decide to get a hard copy of it, and just make sure it says Human Anatomy, because most of you might want to grab the textbook that says Human A&P. Don't get that one because that one is anatomy and physiology, and we need just anatomy, strictly anatomy. So if it's A&P, it's going to be half anatomy, half physiology. And I would say that some of those textbooks is not giving you enough detail for anatomy part if it's with physiology. So if you have old A&P book that your friend gave you, get yourself a real copy of anatomy textbook. So and then there are some, online resources, online free textbooks, but those ones don't have enough detail. So they are like maybe cliff notes for anatomy. So um, you need to get yourself a proper anatomy textbook in order to do well in this class. All right, so let's break down. So some recommended materials are having a hard copy of the Human Anatomy so you can use it during the lab to look at the models. Visual guide for anatomy, atlas. I'll have one copy of the atlas in the lab in case you wanna, borrow it during class. And then coloring book and colored pencils. Those are helpful for remembering. And then there's also this app called Essential Anatomy. If you like, internet or apps, you can try that app. Okay, so the grades. So the grades are, it's pretty standard. Every 10% is a letter grade. And then please note down that 80 to 89.99% is a B. So it has to have the 0.99. So I have the imported in Canvas. You'll see it there as well. So when you're gonna log on to Canvas, you're gonna see that it's gonna show you the homework and the due date. So make sure you're clicking on it so you're getting all your points. So under homework, we have mastering A&P, we have lab participation. Lab participation, you're gonna work on the lab worksheets in class. You'll have some homework worksheets to take home with you, and then you're gonna turn those in, and those get put under homework. And then lecture participation is 10% of your grade. So once you complete the lecture video, you're going to complete the lecture participation for that video, and it's going to ask you some questions about the lecture that you watched, and you have to answer those to get the points for lecture participation. And then 30% of your grade is lab exams and lab quizzes. And then another 30% is lecture exams. One thing I forgot to mention here, it is put in the updated syllabus, is that you'll need a Scantron. So Scantron number is 884E. It is, I'll write down here when I post this. And I recommend bringing a 3-ring binder to class so you can put in the lab manual that'll provide you in the class for this. So 4 lab exams are going to be free response. Lecture exams are going to be all multiple choice, so you need a Scantron. And lab exams, they'll be based on the stuff that you've been learning in the lab. So we'll set up microscopes, then I'll point to a structure on the microscope, and I'll ask you, what are you looking at? And we'll have models. I'll put stickers on the structure on the models, and then you have to tell me, what that bone is, what that structure is. So that's how the lab exams are going to be. So this is again the final breakdown. Every 10% is a grade. And next is the late policy, I believe. So yeah, so late or missed assignments. Unfortunately, I'm not going to take late assignments. That's my policy. Because by the time we get to the end of this class, usually I drop one or two assignments of these categories. So for example, I'll drop, you have some worksheets that you work on, I'll drop maybe two of the worksheets. I might drop one of the quizzes. So that takes care of any absences or any emergencies. So that's the best way to deal with it. So I don't take any late assignments. So make sure you read the late policy, and especially because it's a summer course, it's a very short course. And if you start falling behind, it starts to get overwhelming. So just try to attend every class, and attendance is mandatory. Um, so classroom conduct. So here is, how you're supposed to behave in the classroom. I will be going over the lab safety in class. So I'm going to um, do that during class. Here's the diversity and inclusivity um, statement. You can read more about it. So I'm basically not going to single anybody out. I'm going to treat everybody the same, and I will call you by your preferred pronouns. And then campus policy. So here's all that stuff about um, plagiarism and cheating. Make sure you read through it. District policy, you can go to these links to read more about it. And then here is student accessibility services. If you are if you're a DSPS student, you have accessibility services, then please give me the letter that they give you, because um, they give you a letter to give to your instructor. Then whatever accommodations you're asking for, I will accommodate you. This is part of your education. It's your right to have those accommodations. So if you have the letter, you can provide me with that letter. All right, so you can, again, if you don't know what that is, you can go to the website and learn more about it. So, but you do have to give me the letter. You can't just say, I have this, I have this condition, so I cannot take this exam, or I need longer to take this exam. I will need a letter from the DSPS. And also, if you are, giving me the letter after you have taken the exam, it will not apply. You need to do that before. So it might be too late. So, for example, if you tell me a day before, it might be too late. So just make sure you make the arrangements ahead of time. I will be going over the lab safety in class. And then we have student rights and responsibilities and Title IX and all that information here. You can go to these links again to read in detail about it. I'm just going to do a quick video for the syllabus here. So I'm not going to go through that right now. And then you have some tips on how to do good in this class, or how to succeed in this class. And then the last thing is the schedule here. So you have the lecture topic here, and it's online asynchronous. And then you have the lab topic here in this section. So if you want to kind of see what's coming up next week, you can look ahead and take a look at the schedule, and then look at the syllabus. So for the lab, these are our topics. Sometimes we might be going a little bit fast or a little bit slower, so we'll have to adjust accordingly. But that's pretty much kind of a gist of it. That's what we're planning to cover during that time. That's our goal. But depending on how we're going to go, we might have to kind of adjust things here and there. So again, depending on if I go quick or if I go slow, or if we run out of time. So it'll depend. So again, go ahead and put all the important dates on your calendar, your lecture exam, your lab exam, and again, they're in person. Sometimes people do online exams, but all your lecture exams, lab exams, and quizzes are going to be in person. So we have a long lab time. So on the lab days, we will use maybe 2.5 hours for the exam, maybe first hour for the lecture exam, second hour for the lab exam. In the remaining time, we'll cover whatever we're supposed to cover on that day because labs are pretty long. They're, I think, almost 4 hours, something, 4 hours, 20 minutes, I think. So, again, you can take a look at the calendar, put it in your schedule, however you want to do this. So, we're basically going to do this for 8 weeks, so the 2 months will be done, and it's going to go very, very, very fast. And your last day is going to be your last exam here, the last Wednesday. So if you need all the deadlines, they're in the syllabus for the exams, and all the deadlines for the other assignments are going to be in Canvas. So I'm going to show you Canvas next. Let me see if I've missed anything here. Classroom conduct, I just want to mention this. This is very important. You're expected to pay attention and engage in classroom discussions. Phones and devices must be put away and turned on silent. And during the exams and quizzes, you will be leaving all your personal items, backpack, hats, water bottles, whatever you have at the front of the classroom. And then you're going to go to the, your exam seat, and then you're only allowed to take pencil for the lab exam because you'll be doing free response, and then Scantrons also needs to be filled in with pencil. So we'll be doing lab exam first, and then we'll go back in to do the lecture exams. So just make sure you are, reading through the syllabus and attending every class because it's attendance is mandatory. You're displaying respect to each other, to me, and being patient when you're interacting with me or with the colleagues. If if you need help, maybe talk to your classmates, talk to me, see if there are tutoring services available, seek out clarification when needed. There are lots of resources. I'm going to show you some on Pearson, but you can use YouTube, textbooks. So take responsibility for your own learning, stay attentive, organized, and ask questions when necessary. And do not use phones or computers in class unless it's for class-related activities. For example, sometimes students like to use their phone to take pictures of the microscope, but we don't have enough time in the lab with the models and the skeletons and the bones. I would say use your time wisely. Do not use it for, for other things other than for your academic use. So talking, texting, browsing the internet when I'm lecturing in the lab is distracting. So again, be respectful, behave how you're supposed to behave in the classroom. I want to see you be successful. So our goal is to make you successful. You gotta want to be successful. So humbly learn. If it's challenging you, if it's pushing you to the edge, hold on. Ask other people, ask me. And if you self-select to quit, that's okay. But try to take your time to learn. I did send a time commitment for this course, especially because you probably already heard that anatomy is a difficult course. But if you are taking it during the summer, it's even more fast paced. It's really going to push you to your limits. So just make sure that you make time for this course because it is going to require time and it is to help you. So if you're tight on your schedule, if you think you can't put in that much time, then you self-select, your choices, what do you want to do. So I'm going to go on Canvas now and let's see. I'm going to show you Pearson and everything that's on Canvas. All right, this is the Canvas page. I'm in student view, so you can see this magenta pink that's saying I'm currently logged into student view. So this is what your student view is going to look like. You already have first 2 weeks of the content. Okay, so this is basically what you see on your home page or on your modules. So I just decided to make a video That'll help us make the lecture a little bit shorter in the lab. So once you're on modules, you can go to, I would say go to orientation module first. Let me see. So go to orientation module first. So when you click orientation to the course, here if you haven't taken online class, you probably want to go through all of these. So the orientation module basically goes through all the things you need to know. So it has some links that link to some videos. It has information about the class. I have linked the syllabus here, so I don't give you a hard copy. If you need access to the syllabus, you can just click this link. There's just another link on the course homepage. Lectures are again online. Here's the lab information. We meet at 5 p.m. at MH304. Lab materials, I will be giving you the lab packet in class, and you have some other links that you can go through. Your attendance, it's mandatory. Again, you can go through these, and it also has some resources and how to be successful in online course, and then how to contact me. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I've been an instructor since 2018. I started teaching anatomy then. I've been teaching this for um, a really long time now. I am not an anatomist. I did my doctorate in microbiology, and then sorry, my master's, and then doctorate at from SJSU from in education. So I'm also a public health microbiologist, but I've been, kind of, you start teaching micro and then you kind of go where the need is, which is I'm teaching anatomy now. So I prefer that you contact me through Canvas. I try to respond within 24 to 48 hours. You will probably get a response from me a little bit quicker than that, except for the weekends. So that's your orientation module. You can go through this on your own. And the next page is welcome to the course. Some more information for you. Here's the textbook linked. Here's the mastering link for the Pearson. And then again, lab packets will be given to you in class. So this is just to make sure your equipment is working. You can go to this link and see if Delta College is offering any tutoring. And then here are the course expectations for you guys. So read the syllabus, make sure you completely understand the course structure and expectations. This is a short course, a week's course. So just make sure you are staying up to date, keeping up with lectures, readings, homework assignments, because each one builds on the previous one. And maintain a good attitude, honest and ethical principles towards me and your classmates. So just you can go through the conduct code on the other links. This is basically how to behave in the classroom. Again, be respectful to your classmates, be respectful to me. So make sure you're being civil. All right, I'm going back to the modules, and so basically this is where your mastering A and P is, where it says Access Pearson. So next thing you want to do after you've been to the orientation module, you want to sign up for Access Pearson. So you want to click this, and it's going to say Access or Open Pearson. When I click Open Pearson, it's going to bring me to this page. Because I'm already signed up, it's logging me in. But if you don't have Pearson account, it's going to ask you to sign up. So if you sometimes there's a pop-up for sign up, so make sure you disable the pop-up for the mastering website, and so you don't have to so it's actually opening for you. So then you put in the mastering link, and then your homework will open up. So basically, when you go on it first, if you don't have a sign up or login for it, you're gonna sign up for it, and then it's gonna open up your homework. It's gonna get you to the, I'm gonna have to leave student view to get to the page. So it's going to, I'm gonna say access Pearson, and then when I open Pearson, this is what you're gonna see. You're gonna say open my lab and mastering. So this is the page that you're going to see. So let me see, manage view. So this is a showing instructor. Let me see student view. So this is what you're going to see. You're going to see all the assignments that are in there. And I like going at calendar view, and that way you know what's due when. So you can go to calendar view and you can see what's due when. Um, and that's gonna kind of help you kind of plan for it. Again, if you never done mastering or used Pearson before, you're gonna have to create an account. And if you already have an account, you can start, you already used it maybe for chemistry or physics. This is something that already exists. You can log in. But unfortunately, even though you paid for mastering in chemistry or physics, it doesn't transfer to this textbook. So the subscription is only for good for the textbook that you already um, you know, paid for. So we're using a textbook, that's why Martini et al. So you're gonna have to subscribe again unless you already have subscription for this textbook. So that's what you want to do. And you're gonna create an account. It's gonna ask for your email, and it's going to ask you what service do you want. So it's going to ask you, you know, you want a subscription to mastering, and then they'll say, okay, well, do you also want subscription to mastering an e-textbook? And if you say yes, then you have to pay a little bit more for the e-textbook, a little bit of extra. And then on top of that, it also asks you if you also want to have a hard copy of the textbook. If you say yes to that, then they'll mail the textbook to your house. So it's pretty pricey. The textbook is ninth edition that we're using, so it's gonna have the purple cover. It's pretty big. If you were to hold a 8 by 11 paper by it, you'll see how much bigger it is. So it's like a regular, compared to a regular textbook, it's pretty big. It's huge because you need to have really big pictures. So that's the reason I really like this textbook. It has really big pictures to fit all the terminology that you need to know. And you have the option to get e-text, but you can also buy a hard copy. So hard copy exists in a couple of different forms. So you have really nice one. That one is pretty costly. I think maybe 100 or more, but you can get loosely for a little bit less. But prices change, you know. So I haven't really caught up with that, so I don't know how much it's costing right now. So they're also doing monthly subscription for Pearson now. I think if you want to subscribe to it, I think it's $9 or $10 a month, which might be good because if you're not sure if you want to stay in the class and then you stay for a month, then you can decide to drop the class, then you can stop the subscription. So you're not on the hook for it anymore, but make sure you remember to unsubscribe. All right. So the other thing I want to mention is that if you cannot afford mastering right now, um, when you create your account, you can hit the free trial version. I think you can do that for 2 weeks, and then you can go ahead and do your homework for 2 weeks without having to pay. And then at the end, you can decide if you want to stay in the class, and if you don't like it, you can, you don't have to subscribe to it anymore. So it'll close out in 2 weeks. So basically, you have 2 weeks for free if you haven't decided if you want to stay in the class or not, if you're not sure if you want to buy it or not. So just hit the free trial version if you're not sure yet, and you'll have 2 weeks for free. All right, so once you get into Pearson, you'll go into, I'll go into student mode again. Let me see. So that's course home, student home here, student view. So that's what you see. So again, look at the calendar because calendar show you everything that's due. I'm not sure if this is what you see, but um this is my, you should be seeing this actually because this is student view. So other than the calendar, it's gonna show you your assignments that are due. And then you can let me show you the calendar view. Um So the calendar view is going to show you all the assignments. And then if you move your cursor over to the assignment, it gives you more information. It says due time, start time, status, assigned. So it's gonna basically show you the due date and the due time. You can maybe transfer this over to your, personal calendar just to make sure you don't miss anything. And then you have these gap finders. These are all extra credit, and they are going to be due in 1 week. So our class starts on the 2nd. They're due by the Sunday, June 8th. So these are completely optional. These are going to be due by midnight on the 8th. So you're gonna have to do it by midnight of that day. So these are extra credit. So I put this in Canvas, but I will be adding the extra credit at the end. Right now, you might see them as a regular assignment out of maybe, 10 points or something like that. But I will be making them extra credit, but I'll be putting those in at the end. These are, say, gap finders, and they're extra credit. So I'm not gonna open them up after this Sunday. So this is when they're due. And you have basically, 2nd is the first day of class. You have 6 days to do them. So it's up to you if you want to do them. If you don't want to do them, that's fine too. It's completely optional, like I said, to get extra credit. So what these are basically to test you, how will you remember what you learned from general biology. So in general biology, you learn a lot of stuff like osmosis, diffusion. So it's basic stuff like that. And the reason why you have to take general biology is because these are important topics and that you need to know for anatomy. So these are basically trying to figure out the gaps, what you don't know and what you know. So they're going to be available to you for extra credit. If you do them on time, they're going to be due by midnight on Sunday. You got 6 days to work on them, and then you don't wait until the last minute, because I'm not going to be very sympathetic, because these are extra credit and they're totally optional. So you don't have to do them. But when you do them, you do get points. But like I said, you might see them as regular assignments right now. I will be adding the extra credit at the end. Because if I do it right now, it's gonna tell you like you have 150% out of 100. So it's basically gonna give you extra percentage. And then as that starts to go down, or, it kind of gives you, I guess, um, I don't want to make you sad. So that's the reason I want to put this at the end, not right now. So, if you're kind of borderline, these can help you at the end. So that's my reminder for the gap finders. And they are open already. If you already want to start working on it, you can. Um, and then each day, you have modules to work on. So let's see. I'm going back on the modules, and I will go in student view again. So for study resources, you have the syllabus or the schedule here. So you'll get to the syllabus document if you click here. And then you have your study guides, your lab 1 study guide, your bone PDFs, various study guides here, so you can make use of those. And then you have your histology, USD histology guide. I'll talk a little bit more about these during the lab. So that's the study resources there. And then you have all your lecture handouts. So I put all the lecture handouts together in this module. So whatever lecture you're listening to, you can go on this lecture module. You can click the file. You can download the file. And then if you have a printer, you can print the slides. You can put maybe 3 slides on a 1 page or 6 slides on 1 page and make it double-sided. So you're not printing, you don't have to print a lot. But you can print these. And then as you watch lecture videos, you can take notes. So lecture videos, I try putting them in parts. So for example, when you go to module 1, this is our first week. So you have your lecture 1, chapter 1 video lecture. You click on it, it's going to open a page. It's going to say lecture part 1, lecture part 2, lecture part 3. And then once you watch all the parts, you're going to click on this participation assignment. You're going to complete the assignment. And again, it's be due by 5 p.m. Before the lab. For example, on June 2nd, before 5 p.m., you have to turn this lecture assignment in, because that's the lecture for that day. And they are on YouTube, so you can speed it up, you can pause it, you can backtrack it, whatever you would like to do. So, and I also have transcripts on the lecture. So let me see if I can open one.